We're going to talk about the problem with making marriage the goal and what goes on in our minds and in our hearts and why this is a problem. Within the church, within ourselves, what we're taught. I mean, because we literally are taught that, like, literally once you grow up, you're supposed to get married.
Even if you decide to not get in a relationship and to stay single, find out what your purpose is with God. Find out what it is that He needs you to do. Find out what His will is for your life. When you're seeking a mate, or when you're looking into getting into a relationship with anyone, always figure out what it is that they're seeking. What is their vision? Your vision may be different from theirs.
I leave it on the kid to like decide what I am. Like my kids, they call me bonus dad, which is cool because I feel like I'm super dad because I'm everything that ain't. So I'm the one he wake up to. I'm the one that's taking him to school. I'm the one cooking. I'm the one going to get clothes. I'm the one cutting it. I'm the one doing everything. So I'm not trying to take your title. Only way I can take your title is you let me take your title.
I just heard you say these things and I just want to reiterate them. You talked about pleasing. And so I just want to tell you guys, excuse me, pleasing the Father should be one of your focuses while you're single. Pleasing Him, this is how I say it, pleasing Him before Him, women, capital H before lowercase h, meaning another man. When you are pleasing the Father, you're focused on His will, His way, and you're doing things that bring glory to His name. And so that is not even pleasing yourself, your fleshly desires, your selfish desires that are ungodly, but that is literally doing things His way. And so you please the Father, not yourself or another person, a man or a woman. And then you talk about purpose. You were talking about worshipers. You come into your identity. You come into knowing who you are. So you're pleasing. You're learning how to please God. You're learning how to know who you are. So your purpose, you were placed here on purpose, for a purpose, with a purpose. So on purpose, with your purpose, you live that out.
Again, we're talking about our opinions. I'm going to wonder about standards. I'm going to wonder about what his idea of decent and in order is. Okay, mm-hmm. I'm going to wonder about, what is he looking for? And chances are that's not what we want. Not us, not 30 single and saved family members. Okay?
Come on, sis.
Go ahead, lady.
I need to hear this.
I'm the man of this house. Next question.
Here we go.
You know what? For real, I am the man of the house, and my wife allows me to be the head of the house because that's how God did things. But along with that, me being the head of the house don't mean I make all the rules. It don't mean I call all the shots. We do talk about what's going on. We do we conversate, because if we don't conversate, you're gonna have some mess going on. So, and I don't want that. I don't want her to feel like she's inferior, because that's not what the head of the household means.
It was just like she would recite Bible verses. Even though I had studied the Bible, I was just like, it was different. So I would have to literally go read what she said, and then so I could come back with a quick answer. But it was like she did it so often, and it was just genuine. So then we started reading
the Bible app, different Bible plans together.
Mm-hmm. And we started that, and that was starting my day. But it was like, I think because she had such a strong influence, and I knew that was her foundation. I knew if I wanted to be on the same accord with her, I had to get into what she loved. And if she loved God, I had to go back to him.
And the breakups, they are emotional roller coasters, right? Breakups are always emotional roller coasters. And why would you think that the healing process is any different, right? The healing process is going to be an emotional roller coaster, just like the breakup is, right? So it's not something that you can completely heal from overnight. It's probably gonna take more than just one night for you to heal, right? But you need to allow yourself the time and the space to heal. And what do I mean about the time and the space? Go through your healing process, because just like there are stages of grief, there are particular things that you're going to go through in your healing process. If you're being real with yourself, if you're being honest with yourself, there are things that you're going to go through in your healing process. There is no particular order. There is no particular time frame. So what do I mean about giving yourself the time and the space to heal? Don't put a time limit on it. Don't put a timeline on it. Don't say, well, by, we just broke up last week. By the end of July, you know what? I'm going to move on and I'm going to be dating again. No. You go through your process and don't rush your process, all right? Give yourself the space to heal. And what do I mean about the space? I mean that just because old dude is out, don't mean bringing another one in just because you met him and he had a nice smile. No. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for another 30 Single and Saved Live. As you know, I'm your ministry leader, Lauren Monet, and I am so excited about this live that we have going on right now. So before we get started, I need you guys to hit the share button for me, all right? Make sure that you share this out. Share it with your friends, your family members, your ministries, your churches, all of the above, okay, you guys? We got a really, really good topic lined up on tonight. We're going to be discussing some things, and I am just so excited. We have Evie Collins with us. Our special guest tonight is Evie Collins, and she is here. She is ready, and we are so elated to have her, and we appreciate her coming on to 30 Single and Saved on this evening. All right, you guys. And so before I give the floor over to her so she can introduce herself and tell us all about the great things that she does, I want to first say good evening. Good evening to Kaya. She's in the comment section. Thank you for joining us on tonight. And also Auntie Kim, good evening to you. Thank you for joining us. And my mother, good evening to you. And also Sister Perry, thank you so much for joining us, everyone. And if you have not done so already, let us know that you're here. Let us know that you're in the comment section. All right. So say good evening to us. Let us know that you are watching, that you're supporting. And how can you support this ministry? You can not only watch this particular live, but you can also share it out. All right, you guys, sharing is free. So I want to encourage you guys to make sure that you do that. Also, you guys, we are live not only on Facebook, but also on YouTube. So go on over to YouTube and make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right, you guys, turn your notifications on and make sure that you support our YouTube channel. All right, you guys, we're up and coming. So do what you can to support, and how you support is subscribing. All right, you guys. And so I don't want to prolong the time. We have Evie Collins here, and I'm so excited. If you guys did not know, I've been knowing Evie since I was probably 8 or 9. It's been a long time. We've known each other for a very, very long time. She is an awesome woman of God, and I just love the fact that she also supports the ministry. All right, you guys. And so I'm going to give it over to her. Evie, good evening to you first and foremost. And please introduce yourself. Tell the people a little bit about you, and also how it is that they can support you.
So I'm Evie from Mississippi. I live in Arkansas now. Moved up here about 10 years ago. And like Lauren said, we've known each other since we were little girls, singing in the choir together. Right now, I am getting ready to launch my career coaching business. So I'm getting the website together, getting the final touches on it. So hopefully I'll have all that stuff ready to share here pretty soon and let you guys know all about how you can reach me and get in contact with me if you want some coaching for your career, get some career advice from me.
That is awesome. That is awesome. You never know. There are so many people out there that really do need some career coaching, and so yeah, that is awesome. And congratulations to you pre-launch, right?
Yeah.
So congratulations to you for starting that up, and that's awesome. Awesome. Love to hear that. This evening, you guys, make sure that you say good evening to us in the comment section. Throw some hearts up for Evie on tonight. We are so excited to have her. This evening, we're going to be talking about overcoming the fear and shame of being single. You guys know that this particular ministry is geared towards not only those that are in their 30s, not only those who are single, um, exclusively to those that are saved, though. You got to be a believer to understand what we're talking about. But we encourage those who don't believe that, come on, listen to us. Let us give you some word. But aside from that, we want to speak to not only the singles, but we want to speak to the person, the holistic person. All right. And so we want to really encourage you all to engage in conversation with us in the comment section on tonight. All right, you guys. And so even if you are not single, you still can have a part in this particular topic. All right, you guys. And so we want to pause here and say good evening to First Lady Agnew. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us on tonight. We appreciate you. And so we are actually going to go ahead and get started. So overcoming the fear and shame of being single. And you guys know that we are in our Q&A series. We have been here for a little minute every second and fourth Tuesday of the month. And so it's not going to be any different. If you all have any questions on this particular topic that you would like to ask us, please feel free to put those in the comment section. And also, if you want to, put your comments, your thoughts, your opinions in the comment section, as long as they're respectful, we're going to acknowledge them. Okay, you guys? And so we're just going to jump in here. All right. So how long did it take you to overcome the fear and shame of being single?
So for me, I know it was a few years. I can't tell you exactly how many, but it was definitely a few years. It was a process. And being a single mother, I know, played a huge role in my process, in overcoming the fear and shame for me. And in the fear and shame, being a single mother played a huge role in that for me. So, but it took a while.
Yeah, I would say for me, it definitely took a while. I don't think that it's like a linear process whatsoever. I think that it's just a day-to-day kind of thing. Going back and forth with, thoughts and even people's words can, even allow a setback to happen. And you never know how powerful your words are to someone. And so when you're, at those family functions, or you may be around those particular people that, have a loose tongue and don't think before they speak, that can actually cause a single person to actually, have a setback and go back into those feelings of, oh my gosh, they are right. Oh my gosh, I should be married by now. Oh my goodness, and so I would say that there's like really not a time frame, but I would say that it's just a process. And I would say for me, what happened with me was once I did become a mother, and then to find out that I was a single mother at that I was going to be a single mother at that, that was a totally, it was heavy. It was just really heavy to know that, I was raised in a 2-parent household. I thought that I was going to be raising my child in a 2-parent household. So for me, it was very difficult to come to grips with, oh man, like that's not how my child is going to grow up, necessarily, at least not right now, when I had her. And so it was, it was difficult. I think that the fear and shame part definitely
shouldn't necessarily be there. No one should feel, fear or shame for being single. Um, don't be ashamed of the experiences or the things that you're going through, because just because you're not married doesn't mean that, your married friends or your married family members are having the time of their lives either. So don't, I would say for me, it was the process of understanding that marriage isn't everything. It is a part of life that I would like to experience, but also marriage isn't something that I should idolize. So for me, that's what it was. So it was kind of like a constant back and forth in my process, just understanding, okay, I'm doing this alone, but it won't always be that I'm doing this alone. I have this child right now, but I'm willing to be alone for the sake of this child so that I can make sure that I am, mothering this child in the correct way and also protecting her, because it's important to protect our children.
Yes.
Yeah. We want to say good evening to Sister Galloway on tonight. Thank you for joining us on tonight. Good evening to you. And so we're going to continue on in the conversation. So, what did the process of overcoming look like? What did that look like for you?
So it involved a lot of self-reflection. And then I had to forgive myself for, just for thinking that my life had to look like everybody else's.
Yes.
It's kind of like the world grooms us to think we're supposed to be married by a certain age as women. And so that's what we expected of ourselves. And so you have to take a look and realize not all of our lives are the same. So it took a lot of reflection and forgiveness. And then at some point, you just kind of have to not worry about what other people think or what other people say, or you got to tune that stuff out. And so that was kind of my process. It was just, take a look at where I was, those past relationships that got me to this single point, figure out where I wanted to go, what I want those future relationships to look like. What are the things what did I learn from those past relationships? What do I not want to take into a future relationship? So a lot of that kind of reflection, excuse me, a lot of what will I not tolerate the next time? What will I not put up with? What do I need to feel like I'm a part of a relationship, to feel like to be happy in the next relationship? What things are not tolerable, because I've been in the abusive relationship. I've been in the relationship where, my needs didn't matter, or I didn't too much matter. I was just there. So those are the things that I know I don't want going forward. So it was a lot of that type of thing in my process. And then, like I said, the forgiveness. So I had to forgive myself for allowing myself to be in those kinds of relationships and allowing myself to, like I said earlier, compare my life to other people's lives, because, all my friends are married, or a lot of my family members are married, or in relationships. Like, I'm the only single one. So at some point, it's like you can't keep comparing yourself. You have to live in your moment. So I had to forgive myself for wanting what everybody else had. So I had to do that in my process. And then it's like, tune everybody else out. Don't listen to what they're saying, because their road was not your road. Their journey was not your journey. You're on your own journey. So you can't listen to what they're saying. I'm almost 35. I've never been married. But that's my journey.
Yes.
So that was my process. Reflection, forgiveness, and then stop worrying about everybody else.
I love that. Oh my goodness. Just just the transparency and honestly just the process, because that's so important. I think that the overcoming for me looked like sometimes it was ugly. Sometimes it was ugly. It did not always, look glamorous or anything like that. And I love that you brought up, the friends, because that plays a huge part. And I would say, like, it played a huge part in my process as well, because I have a group of married friends that I went to college with. All of them are married. All of my college friends are married. And so then I have a group of my other friends that I went to high school with, of course, long-term relationships, all of that. And look, both of them are single, okay? And so no children, right? And so I have these married friends, most of them have children, and then I have the single friends, no children. And so it's like me in the middle. No, I'm not married, and but I have a child. And then no, I'm over here and I have this group of single friends, and it's like, okay, but they can't necessarily understand my parenting part, so I can't just jump up and do what I want to do when I want to do it, however I want to do it. No, it takes some time to plan and process and, figure everything out. And so I will say, I agree with you when it comes to, the comparisons, coming to the realization that, it's not all about, comparing my journey with someone else's journey, and what they have to go through, because like I said before, the glamorous parts that we're taught as children of marriage, aren't necessarily reality all the time, right? You have to make, and this is something that I've learned over time, is that when you're in a relationship, when you're in a marriage, you actually have the power to make it what it's going to be. You and that other person, it has to be both of you trying and pushing and pressing and praying, and all of that. You guys have to be on the same page. And so for me, I'm like, okay, well, I'm hearing this and that, and my married friends are saying this and that, and I'm like, whoa, that don't look so glamorous right there, and so for me, it was that process of understanding, okay, not only is my journey going to be different, but also I'm unique in the way that God made me.
Right.
And a lot of my previous relationships and experiences have molded me into what I'm willing to accept and what I'm willing not to accept, in relationships. And you can be the most genuine man out there. You can be the best person in the world, but point blank, period, if you're not for me, if God didn't create you for me, we're just not meant to, we're not meant to vibe, and there's no reason in wasting time, right? And so
Right.
I started trying, like understanding that, look, my time is valuable, it's precious. Not only that, I don't have the time or the space or the energy to put into someone who is not going to be genuine, and not really going to have my best interests at heart. And I think that my previous relationships really molded that about me. And I can honestly say, like, I'm proud of the woman that I became because of the fact, I'm not compromising because, well, this person is a good person, but I don't like this and that. Well, you know what, if you're a good person but you can't meet my needs, then no, we can't go any further. And so I think that overcoming, like I said, looked, like I would say like a hilly road, like almost like it had bumps in the road. There were times where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm losing it. And then other times where I'm like, oh man, I'm coasting and I'm good.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it definitely, doesn't just look one way. It's not, all good, but it's not all bad either. Overcoming, and I will say, when you get on the other side and you finally realize, who you are, and you're not willing to compromise who you are, then yeah, like you've won.
Yeah.
Not saying that you're at that point where you don't desire a relationship or something like that, but just the fact that you know your worth.
Yes.
And
Yes.
what overcoming looks like when you finally get to that other side and you understand your worth. That's, I think that's the ultimate goal there. And so we have a comment or a question. Mom says, do you think that the way people looked at you as single mothers played a part in your causing pain on your process? Evie, you want to take this one, or you want me to take it first?
Most definitely. For me, it was like, or to me, it was like people would see you as a single mother and they would automatically think, where is her husband? So, that that internally that kind of hurt, because you would see it, and sometimes they would even ask, like, where's his father? And I don't want to go through that whole spiel every time someone asks me that question. And so I hate to say that I get rude, but sometimes I would get rude. Yeah, it most definitely did.
Yeah. I would say, yeah. As far as, it was that premise that, I had a certain expectation for my life. And because of my expectation for me, and I can even remember, I've never even spoken this, Evie. So, oh my gosh, I'm about to like tell it. So when I found out that I was pregnant, there was, my mom initially, of course, she was the first person that I told. After which, she ended up calling a couple of my family members that were really close to me. And when I say, like, she had them on speaker. And so when I say, like, it was the biggest they were like, oh my God, like, it was no happiness whatsoever. And of course, that hurt me to my core. And I've never spoken on this before. I think I've talked to my mom about it, of course, but like, I've never even spoken on this particular part. That like really just crushed me, because my mom's response to me being pregnant, she was excited, she was happy, and I'm still indifferent. I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do with a baby? I can't even take care of myself. Like, and I was like reeling, but her reassurance really, spoke volumes to me. And I'm like, oh, I can do this. And you know what her words were? She said, Lauren, why are you, sad about this? She said, no. She said, God gives life. She said, so that's a blessing. And she said, on top of that, she said, you have not only gotten your bachelor's, but you've gotten your master's. And she was like, you have an education, you have a full-time job, and you're doing what you have to do. She said, so don't you hold your head down. And for me, that spoke volumes. So after that point, it was like, and I dealt with the hurt of, people not being, kind of like being sad for me. I'm like, hold on, don't be sad for me. Like, look, it is what it is. This is my life, and you don't have to live it. I do. And so, from that point on, I didn't really let anybody like really harm me like that, not in that manner. Now, I will say, yeah, for me, sometimes it's like an internal thing. But I will say, yeah, from then on, I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna let anybody else have that power over me, because the ones that I thought were supposed to have my back at that point and be excited for this new child, this new life that's being brought into the world, they didn't. So I'm like, you know what? I have to be my own, hype man. I have to be my own, backing or whatever, because people will let you down. And so, yeah, I would say yes and no to that question, because yeah, like it does kind of take precedence sometimes, and it has in the past. But in this day and time, oh no, you can no more causing pain on
oh
that.
Yeah, no, at this point, my son is 13. His daddy is where his daddy is, and he's not with me, so it is what it is.
Yes, we got Miranda in the comment section. Good evening, Miranda.
Hey, Miranda.
Girl, we talking about some stuff tonight, so you hang in there, all right? All right, let's go to the next question. Next question: what advice would you give to someone who is ashamed of being single?
Don't be. Like, the way I feel, you are exactly where God wants you to be. There is no reason to feel ashamed of it. This is your season, your single season. This is your season to do all those things that you've been putting off. Read that book, take that trip, start that business. All those things that you said you were going to do, but you haven't had the time. This is the time right now. Do it. God does not make mistakes. If you are single right now, it is for a reason. This is your time to get closer to him. That is what I did. I found my way back to God in my single season because we were strained there for a little while. I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all, me and God, we had a strained relationship, and during my single season, we found our way back together. Hallelujah.
Thank you.
So find your way, find out what your purpose is right now in your single season. Don't be ashamed of it. Embrace it. Embrace it. Enjoy it. Do all those things that you've been putting off. There's no reason to be ashamed. I found out the hard way. There is no reason for it.
Yeah, no reason to be ashamed of it at all, because the thing about it is, if you're ashamed of your single season, then that's when you could potentially make the mistake of getting into the wrong relationships or allowing the wrong people into your life. So I would say this, your single season is a sacred time for you and God. And for you to actually, and I love how you put that, take that time to read that book, go on those trips, learn you. Because honestly, really and truly, and I say it all the time, look, if you don't know who you are, you cannot expect your future spouse, to figure you out. It's like giving them, a puzzle that doesn't have all the pieces to it, and you expect them to come out and put the whole thing together. They can't do it. And so it's up to you to bring all of the pieces, the full puzzle, to them and give it to them as a gift and say, look, I'm healed, I'm whole, and now I'm ready to enter into this relationship. So no, I don't think that anyone should be ashamed of the single season. The single season is actually a blessing rather than a cursing. The single season, not only, because when you're in a relationship, you not only have to take care of yourself, but you got to take care of somebody
else. Okay.
And honestly, the single season is for you to figure out how to take care of you so that when it does come the time for you and somebody else to get together, look, you know how to take care of them and yourself at the same time. Because you gotta understand, marriage is a whole nother ballpark. You're not only just maintaining what you got, but you maintaining what they got. And if they're coming in with other children, you maintaining that. It's a lot. And so you have to be ready for that particular thing. So I will say, don't be ashamed. Take this time, and invest in you, invest in who you are, invest in your future, invest in your present as well. Like I said before, now that things have, kind of opened up a little bit more, we're able to travel and all of that. Look, if the pandemic taught anybody anything, is that you should not, take anything for granted. You should not take life for granted. So look, no, invest in you. Find out what it is that you like and what you don't like. Find out, and honestly, take those trips, because I was just talking to my mom not too long ago, probably I think either today or yesterday, and I was telling her, I said, I thank God for those, those trips that I took when I was younger, like, being able to go out the country, and go to China. And I did that before I had a child, so I was able to travel and experience things before having a child. So now it's like, okay, when I do travel, it's like I don't feel like I'm missing anything. Like everything is just, and it's like I'm sharing everything with her, and it's a blessing. And so let me get to these comments. Miranda said yes, and the way you treat yourself is the way your significant other will see they need to treat you too. Amen. So love on yourself, treat yourself, invest in yourself. Amen. I really agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Miranda. Because that's so true. You can't expect someone to treat you a certain way, or you have these certain standards when you're not willing to do that for your own self. You don't see your worth. So how can somebody else see your worth? All right. And so she said, go outside. Yes, honey, go outside. Get out, get some sun.
Yes.
I don't like the outdoors because it has too many bugs, but baby, I would do some traveling now.
Yeah, I don't too much go outside either because my hair natural and bugs. But
girl,
we'll travel all day.
All kinds of stuff. Let's see. Mom says people tend to judge you without remembering that they have done their dirt. They either didn't get caught or they have buried it so deep nobody remembers their dirt. And that's so true. That is so true. And I'm one of those people, the thing about it is I have experienced, I hate to say it, church folk, right? Where when it's someone else that's done the same thing that you remember that they did before, then now they're holier than thou, and it's not, and I'm like, whoa, now. He who is without sin cast the first stone, because I remember. But no, it's and for me it's not even about that part, but it is true though. Like a lot of times people will judge a situation or judge you based off of what you've done, but God forbid you know what I'm saying, remember what it was that happened before, in the past.
Right.
I do agree. And so let's go on to the next question. So why do people think that it is shameful to be single? I think that people think that it's shameful to be single because it looks a certain way, right? Some people have made marriage the standard of the or the ultimate goal. And for them, it's like, oh man, she's single. Oh, something must be wrong with her. How many times have you experienced, well, what's wrong with you? Look, first of all, if you want to hear my mouth, say something to that caliber, and so it's the premise of, I think it's that thing of being alone. And people look down on people who are not in relationships like that, especially with the age thing, which is, I think, why God gave me the title 30 Single and Saved, because when I hit 30, I was like, oh no, like it's time to get married. It's time to like settle down. And I'm like, I cannot believe I hit 30 and I'm still single. That's the process that I went through. So for me, I enjoyed turning 30 because I traveled for my 30th birthday because I was like, I be doggone. I bring you in this age and I'm just doing the same old thing. And, so I was like, oh no, I'm bringing in 30 with a bang. And so for me, I think that it's an age thing in people's minds, because just like I have to remember, just like I had those thoughts or I had those, preconceived notions about certain people in certain ages, as I was coming up, it's the same thing with everything else. So now that, maybe I'm in the same situation, it's like, oh nah, like let me tell you something. It's not shameful whatsoever to be single, but the thing about it is it's society's perception of who you are and why it is that you're single, and oh my goodness, you don't have anybody to love, you don't have anybody to cuddle with. And what do they always talk about? Cuddle season, the fall. Make sure you got a cuddle buddy, right? And it's that premise of, especially during holidays, this is how people, businesses make their money. They, advertise all of these happy couples and being, grouped together. But I would say this, no, I would say that sometimes people don't understand what your process is going to be. And it's not for them to understand. It's not for them to understand or even receive, because you have still some big mouth people that even though you tell them, oh no, like I even had an instance where someone was like in my face saying, it's time to get married. And I'm like, whoa. I'll get married on God's time, not your timing. And they were steadily saying, oh no, but how old are you? And I'm like, whoa. It's not about my age. You got to understand, God is perfecting what's going on within my life. So don't tell me when it's time to get married. And I told them this. I was like, oh no, that's not your business. And so, it's that premise of, and we talked about it in several lives before, but, it's that premise of, people always speaking on, other people's situations in their lives, when honestly, they just need to look in the mirror and fix that, fix that broken mirror you standing in front of, What about you? Why do you think that, people think that it's shameful to be single?
I think it's like you said, it's society. I think it's been conditioned in us that we're supposed to be with someone, that especially as women, like we were taught or we were made to believe that we were supposed to aspire to marriage, that we were supposed to be someone's wife, that it was our duty to be homemakers. So that was our conditioning, like as Black women, we were taught, make your own money, go to school, all that, but to also aspire to be wives, to marry well, to have a husband. And in our minds, we were supposed to do that by 30. Otherwise we were spinsters. We we're gonna probably be alone forever if we can do it by 30. So, and that's just the way that that's what society led us to believe. And so that's why for us, if we're not with somebody at all times, then we're ashamed of it. We think that, oh no, I'm gonna die alone. And it's just the way that is the thing that we were led to believe. Is our conditioning is ingrained in us for some reason.
Yeah, I totally agree. And we know that that's not the case, but it's it's that societal belief, and it's gone for generations and generations. Mm-hmm. And so the point is, hopefully by something that is said, or even by what you're doing, by shining light on of people, hopefully start changing and understanding a little bit more. So we're push point. So how has being single empowered you?
So I am definitely less tolerable of things. I've been dating, but I hate to say you can walk wrong and I'm done. Not seriously, but it's small things like that. Like if I know it's not gonna work out, it's not gonna work out, and I'm just not gonna. Also, like in my single season, that's like I said, I connected back with God. I started a small business when I was single, and it helped me to move forward and start the business that I'm now working on. I did a lot in my single season. I read a lot of books. I went back to school and got my bachelor's degree. Awesome. Yeah, I did. I utilized my single season to the fullest. I'm sorry, that's my dog. I don't know.
He or she. You want to be on the live too. He got something to say about this. He wants
feeling empowered. Yeah, I did a lot in my single season. I definitely learned a lot about Evie in my single season. All that time that I spent learning about myself, I'm utilizing it now as I've gotten back into the dating game. I was saying earlier, I know what I want in my next relationship. So I'm less tolerable now. So
yeah. I would say in my single season, I think about my childhood when I read this question. I think about my childhood and the way that my parents raised me, and it was almost as though the way that they were raising me, it was like they were conditioning me for the season of being single. Because I feel like, the things down to, my dad making sure that I knew how to change a tire and, knew how to care for my car, and, down to him, teaching me, the business side of things and how to handle my business and what to do and how to speak to people, and how to, handle business transactions, to the point of, my parents just empowering me as a person. And so I think back and I'm like, did y'all know that, I was gonna have to wait like a little bit, because it was almost as though they were, conditioning me, and not only, conditioning me for a single season, of course, but it was more so, they made sure that I had that foundation in order to take care of myself, and take care of my business, And so I think about this, and, it really makes me, appreciative of my upbringing, because it's that thing of no, a man is appreciated. However, the need it's, you know, it's just, and I'm not saying that men are not needed. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that I can take care of myself the way that I need to until God blesses me with the mate, right? And so that was my premise. You know, and so even being single, you know, and how it empowered me, I would say, you know, I learned who I was, and whose I was, because I resonate with you so much when you say, you know, in your single season, you really realized, you know, you and God got back together. um, because I will say, you know, there was a season where, you know, me and God, we just, you know, I still believed. I still, you know, proclaimed to be a believer and all of that, but we weren't as tight as we are now, you know. We weren't as tight as, you know, as I can. And finally, you know, in the relationship with my child's father is when I finally decided that there were no more compromise. I was not compromising anymore on my relationship with God for a relationship with an individual. Never again, because I had tried that. It didn't work well. I tried that in a previous relationship. And when I say, like, I had just, you know, it was almost as though this particular person was my God, you know. And when I say this person let me down all the way down, and I had to like go back to God on hands and knees and be like, okay, God, I apologize for, you know, putting you to the side. But now, oh no. So when I got in another relationship with my child, well, when I got in a relationship with my child's father, it was as though, you know, I was like, oh no, I see where you're going. Now you showed me something different from the beginning, which is how we even ended up in this situation in the first place. But to allow you to take me away from my God, oh no, not gonna happen. And that caused a lot of, well, I don't understand this and I don't understand that. And I'm like, it's not for you to understand, because those things of the flesh cannot understand those things of the spirit. And right now I'm in the spirit realm, and like, you can't understand what's going on over here, what God is taking me through, or why I have to be so dedicated to him, because you're not one of his. So I refuse for that relationship to take me away from my relationship with God. So I will say that, you know, in the single season, you know, I was empowered spiritually as well, because even in that situation, it was a relationship, but it wasn't. And so it was that thing of staying together for the sake of the child. And finally I was like, oh no, for the sake of the child is, you know, me being healthy and, you know, okay, and me being happy, so I can, you know, be a good parent to my child. And so, yeah, I would say that, you know, it was a lot of growth, and really realizing how God is working things out, and to lean and depend on him for everything, not just some things. And so I will say that my spirituality increased, and my relationship with God increased, and that empowered me as a whole to know that, look, even if I don't have anybody by my side, I have God, and that's everything in the world. Because what I don't want is someone who is not sent by him. What I don't want and won't tolerate is someone who is coming with, you know, this mask on, acting as though they've been sent, and then later on come to find out, oh no, like you're not even the one. And so I think that that's what it taught me. It taught me, oh, don't compromise. Don't, you know, put myself in a position where I feel bad if it ends with, you know, some, you know, a dating situation or someone that I've been seeing, if it ends, because God has a better plan for my life. And I can't sit here and, you know, look down on myself or beat up on myself because of, you know, it didn't work out. No, God got something for me. And so that's the premise, that, you know, really empowered me, because I really don't, you know, and haven't looked at, you know, situations and relationships the same way ever since God, you know, brought me out of those situations. So yeah, definitely turned some things around for me. So what are some things that you disliked about being single? Are you ashamed of those things?
The biggest thing I think for me is a lot of times you would feel that loneliness. Like you just wanted somebody to talk to share your day with, to, just have in your space sometimes. And I don't know, I'm not gonna say I'm ashamed of those things. I just know that those are the times that I should have been praying a little bit harder. I'll say that. So yeah, and I've learned that now. So that's what I do when I get those feelings is I get on my knees and I pray to God, or I open my Bible and I'll read some passages. That's how I deal with those situations now. I don't think there are any other things that I disliked about it because, like I said, I used my single season wisely. I was going to school and starting businesses. So, but there were times when I would get the feelings of loneliness, and I realize now that that's when I should have been talking to God more.
Yeah, I agree. I agree on that point. And I also would say that, I kind of dislike the fact that I spent so much time, waiting on to move on with my life, thinking that, marriage was around the corner. That's the part that, really like, I kind of would beat myself up on, like, girl, stop,
Yeah.
continue pushing. And that's what that would be one of the things that I kind of disliked about being single, is that it was kind of that premise of I want a family, I'm looking to be married one day, I do want God to do this. And so it was kind of like I was at a stalemate at one point. And it was like, okay, even though I'm pushing forward in other things, it was like that aspect of, building that family and all of that. It was kind of like I was kind of stunning my growth at one point. So I would say, not having that, that significant other and all of that. And I do agree with you when you said about the loneliness. Yeah. And once I realized like loneliness is a spirit, and it's one of those spirits that you can either accept or you can, or you have the choice to pray it away. Oh my goodness. Then it's like this freeing feeling where it's like, oh no, loneliness is not going to get me, because what it's trying to do is it's trying to take me down and destroy me. What happens when you're lonely? It turns into loneliness, and then that loneliness can turn into depression and then lead you down a spiral of things. And so that's the premise that, I just had to like really realize and accept. And so, I think that, are you ashamed of those things? Not anymore. Thank God for, thank God for those shackles being broken, and thank God for, just forward progression and growth. And so I think that that's where it is. And so, we want to say good evening to David Collins. He's in the comment section. Good evening.
Hey, Daddy.
You. And so let's see. All right, our last question for the evening, and we are going to go. We're going to let the people go. You guys, if you all have any more questions, if you have any comments, go ahead and put them in the comment section. So, because this is the last one of the evening. So if you have anything, make sure that you put them there before we wrap it up. All right, so here we go. Everyone's single journey is different. What kinds of things were you afraid of or fearful of? How do you overcome that fear? Or how did you overcome that fear?
I think in my single journey, the biggest thing that I was afraid of is jumping into a relationship and not knowing the person, and then them not being good for my son. And I think that's the thing that kept me single the longest.
Yes.
And that was honestly my biggest fear as a single parent, and then having a parent who works at the police station, so she sees the worst in people every day. She loves to share, you guys. She loves to come home and share her stories with everybody. So for me, like, especially when he was younger, like I'm over it a little bit now that he's older and he can fend for himself, and he knows that when I say you can tell me anything, that I mean it. So it's a little easier now. But as he was growing up, like, it was my biggest fear, is that I would invite someone into our lives and they would hurt him. So I think that's the thing that probably kept me single for so long. But now I know that I can pray about anything, that God hears me, that He's got me. And so that was my way of overcoming it. And plus, like I said, my son he's 13 now, so he can fight, he can fend for himself. Like, he's bigger than I am, so he can fend for himself. And so that was part of me overcoming it too. But that was my biggest fear, is that I would bring in a monster.
Yes, I totally agree. I would say that, my that would be my top fear. And you broke it down so eloquently, and just everything that you said applied to my child. So since you did say that, I would say, so my second biggest fear would be that, this whomever I chose to be in a relationship with, that they weren't meant for me, that I would actually utilize that time, that energy, that love, that, caring and all of that, and just being vulnerable with a person. And it didn't work out, And so for me, that would be like the second biggest fear. And so the last part of the question is that how did you overcome that fear? For me, it's more so about, it was about my relationship with God more so, because I know that from my previous experiences and relationships, I knew that I was jumping into these relationships without considering God. I saw what I wanted to see. Even when my discernment told me different, it was like, oh no, Lauren, you're probably wrong. And because, nothing with my physical eyes was I able to see, the same thing that my discernment was telling me. So I'm like, oh, nah, it's okay. You're just, what I'm saying? You're just coming up with stuff. And the same things that I felt, and the same things that my discernment told me were the same things that, it turned out to be. And so once I got to the place of realizing, oh no, I got to lean on God throughout the whole process. Oh no, you're not chosen unless God chose you, unless God actually put you in my path. And so I think that for me is the most important part. It's that premise of, just understanding that, He's going to lead you, but you got to stop I had to stop putting my hands on the wheel and turning it, to the right when He's keeping the straight and narrow. He's like, no, we're going straight. And I would put my hands on and curve over. And I had to learn to stop doing that. Okay, God, it's what you want for me, and nothing more, nothing less. It's your plan for my life, not my own. And yeah, it's a hard thing to relinquish control, because we're taught to make good decisions as children. As we're coming up, we're taught to problem solve, brainstorm, all of these critical thinking, all of these good attributes that we learn. But it don't work on the spiritual realm. It does not work in the spirit realm, because when God says a thing, it's like we have to unlearn all of that, critical thinking and all that, and let God do the work. And that is it's a difficult thing, and it's trial and error. Sometimes you're gonna let go and let God, and sometimes you're gonna try to put your hands on it, and then it's like, oh, I forgot. Let me get back on track. And so for me, yeah, I would say that overcoming that fear, it helped when I stopped putting my hands on what God was trying to do in my life, and just let Him completely just take control. And I would say it's not like an overnight process or anything like that. It's really not. It's just a day-to-day, situation by situation. And look, it's trial and error. And if you fall, get back up and keep on trucking, because honestly, you got this. And that's what I would tell anyone that is maybe feeling fear and shame in their single season. Look, you got this.
Yeah.
Don't think about what other people will say. Don't think about what other people think about you, but stay on the straight and narrow and stay focused on God, and everything is going to work itself out. But keep moving, keep being positive, and pray for joy, pray for peace, because those those will get you through some tough times. Evie, do you have any closing remarks?
I don't. I enjoyed it though.
Yeah, definitely. We enjoyed having you on. I really appreciate you coming on and helping us tonight and blessing us with your wisdom. I'm definitely gonna be, rewatching and taking notes. And so I hope that you all will rewatch and do the same. And also remember to hit that share button for us. All right, you guys. And also, continue to support the ministry as a whole. All right. And that is our live for tonight. We just got a few announcements. And so Evie, do you have any announcements of yours that you would like to announce before I get started with the slew of announcements that I have?
Just be on the lookout for my coaching business. I am going to launch it really soon. So you guys, I'll send all the information. So you just be on the lookout for that.
Awesome. Please support Evie, okay? When she launches her business, Evie, make sure that you give me the information so I can put it in the group and then also put it on the page so we can support in any way that we can. We do, of course, you guys know that 30 Single and Saved, we are live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. So next Tuesday is May the 1st. I cannot believe April is gone. It's basically over. And so April went by so quick, but we are coming in with a bang on May 1st. 30 Single and Saved, we will be live next week. We do have a special guest. Candace Chester will be back with us. And so I'm excited about that. So you guys make sure that you join us next Tuesday at 7 p.m. as well as Unity Fellowship Church. Of course, we have church school every Saturday at 10 a.m. So please log in. Make sure that you like the Facebook page and also subscribe to the Unity Fellowship Church YouTube channel. And also morning worship is every Sunday at 11 a.m. and you can stream that live on Facebook and YouTube as well. Also this Sunday, Kicking It With the Family, we will be live at 6 p.m. So if you have not done so, please like the Facebook page and then subscribe to the YouTube channel, Kicking It With the Family. If you did not catch the episode on Sunday, you missed a great treat. I was represented as having anyway blue hair and streaks and all of that or whatever. So if you missed the episode on Sunday, you guys go back and watch it. It is hilarious and you're going to die laughing. If you've ever seen another episode of Kicking It With the Family, oh my gosh, you're gonna die laughing with the impersonations. So you guys make sure that you catch us this Sunday at 6 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube as well. That is all my announcements for tonight. You guys make sure that you pray one for the other. Continue to lift each other up and encourage one another. You guys pray for me as I pray for you all. And that is our show tonight. Good night, you all. Have a blessed evening. And thank you again for joining us.